Okay, what we're doing today is we're working on our second video of the econo screen topsoil screeners. And what I want to do today is I'm going to explain the difference in my two machines. These are brand new machines. We're not going to run dirt through these today. Actually, both of these machines have to be delivered sometime this week or this weekend. But behind the camera right now is I have my machine set up, and I'm going to show you my screening operation and how I do it. I do run a conveyor machine. My machine is pretty beat up and pretty nasty looking, but I just want you to see my machine in operation. I'm going to do to my machine what I hope you don't do to your machine, because I'm going to prove to you I have a good machine, and this is not a setup. This is real, true screening of soil. So let's start over here. This is my standard machine. Now the two machines, I get people that call, I have pictures on the internet, and they seem to think they're two different size machines. They're not two different size machines, it's just the way the picture is taken. We actually build our machines in a jig. So both machines are identical. One does not have a stacker in it, the other one has a stacker built into it. Both machines are 2x4 square tubing, 1/4 inch wall. Okay, they're very heavy duty built machines. I think when I run mine, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So let's go over here now. So this is our standard 10-foot machine. You have 10 foot of screening area. The machine is 4 foot deep. The reason for that is that with 10 foot wide, if you can drive it down the road with a bucket on your piece of equipment, being 8 foot, 8.5 foot wide, this machine will handle it. The reason we only go 4 foot deep with it, because if we were to have my case tractor over here, and if this machine was any deeper, my lift arms on my tractor would hit here before it got the dirt out of the machine. So this is why we build these machines like we do. And when you run a machine like this, the dirt will actually pyramid out of the machine. It holds plenty of dirt. Over here on my machines, like we stated in the other video, all my bearings are greasable. And on the smaller, well, I say smaller machine, but they're identical. On the machine without the stacker, we run a 6.5 horsepower motor. My throttles come preset. I don't put things on my machines that you don't need, okay? On the standard machine, you do not need 4 crank jacks on all 4 corners. As we mentioned in the other video, I got them couple guys out there trying to duplicate my machines, and from what I'm hearing, it's not working out really well for them. So we do not put things on the machine that you do not need, because that only costs you more money. We do not run fenders, because if you look at my machine over here, you make the determination how long you think them fenders would last. We do run 4 crank jacks on the stacker machine, and I will explain to you why we do that. So here's the standard machine, and what I'm going to do right now is it's very simple on this machine. You flip the switch, depending on how warm or cold it is, pull the choke. This machine is ready to go. Now, one of the things on a machine like this, what we do is, if you notice right here on the crank jack, we do run a 4-inch spacer on the crank jack. You can run the crank jack all the way up, and you can pull the wheels, and it will set directly on the ground. We do not typically run them that way. If you have a loader that's too small and you can't lift 7 feet high, you can pull the wheels off. It might give you that little bit of clearance you need. But again, we do not run them with the wheels off. There's absolutely no need to. And again, there's no need for 4 crank jacks on this machine. I just started it, and it's ready to screen. So what we're going to do now is we'll step over here to the stacker machine, and I'm going to explain this machine to you. So what we do on this machine is we run a 16 horsepower electric start motor. Now, again, on my screener, believe it or not, I'm running the 6.5 horsepower motor, and I run everything together off of that 6.5 horsepower motor. Is it underpowered? Yes, it's a little underpowered, and when I screen, you're going to see that, but I'm just going to, again, show you that the worst scenario in the world, my machine makes dirt. Okay, so with the 16 horsepower motor, it's electric start. And the reason we have 4 crank jacks on all 4 corners, which you'll see on my machine, is we use it to raise the machine. They have the drop foot in them. You drop the feet, you crank it up. It will give you more clearance to get a dump trailer or a dump truck under the machine. That is the only reason there's 4 crank jacks on this machine. So what we do on this machine, you walk over to it. This one's sweet. You're ready to screen. What I do on these is I run everything together. There's no clutches, there's no levers, there's no bells, there's no whistles. You start the machine, the conveyor starts with it, because you cannot screen without the conveyor running, or you'll plug the machine up. So this way you're not burning clutches out, or your help didn't engage it right and they burned it out, whatever. You hit the key, the machine is ready to run. One of the things we've come up with over the years is I do overdrive my conveyor a little bit, and it actually helps pull the dirt out of the machine quicker, so it will never back up. When I run my machine, you're going to see mine slows right down to a creep, but with this bigger motor on it, you clearly don't have that problem. So again, all my bearings are greasable. You have the bearings, a couple chains under here. Everything is greasable. Everything is American standard bearing. Every nut and bolt on my machine is a nylock locking nut. Again, this frame's 2x4 tubing, 1/4 inch wall. The tongue, 1/4 inch wall. It's a super heavy duty machine. We run 2-inch spacing on the Grizzly, and I will never ever sell you a machine that does not have a Grizzly on it. And when I run my machine, you're going to see why. And again, there's another machine on the market. He's running it. It's electric and it's a bolt together machine. My machines are welded together. They're not electric. That other machine on the end of this market does not have a Grizzly on it. When I run my machine, you tell me how long do you think that carriage would last without a Grizzly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn the camera. We're going to walk over to my machine. Now again, this machine is 11 years old, and I want you to see what you'll have over a period of time, and hopefully you don't do to your machine what's been done to mine. So come on over here and let me show you where we're at. Okay, this is my screening operation. This is how I set mine up. I do have the stacker machine. This is the very first prototype stacker machine that I built, designed, and in all honesty, the only thing I've ever had to change on this machine is I put guides on my rolls to keep my belt centered. I sat one whole afternoon trying to adjust the belt and keep it centered, and I couldn't get it. And I said, you know, we're going to cure this problem. So it's the only thing I've modified on my machine is the rolls. Other than that, it's the same machine. Now, when I do start my machine, you are going to hear a hammering and pounding sound. And what that is back a few years ago when I was designing a new connecting rod for the shaker, I built it as a prototype, put it on this machine. It's a little bit too long, and my carriage actually hits the back of the machine. I could throw some washers behind the bearings and shim it. And I said, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let this machine run and hammer and pound and take a beating to see where we end up at with it. So here's what I was screening yesterday. I was out here. It was a beautiful day. I got time to screen. And again, you know, there's nothing fake about my dirt. My dirt and my rocks have not been run through a crusher. Okay? So if you come over here, another thing I've done on my machine, if you look at my bearings and the chain, I've never ever greased them. I loaned this to a friend of mine a year or so ago, and I had to threaten him with his life, do not grease my machine. We're waiting to see what falls off of it. So any of you guys that buy my machine and then you call and you complain to me that you broke a bearing, it's because you manipulated the throttle or the governor on the machine. I know what breaks the machines. My machine has not broke in 11 years because I kind of use it the way it's designed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get on what we call the Blue Monster. I'm going to start this thing up, and I'm going to screen for you. Then I'll jump back off again, give you a quick rundown of what we got going on here. But again, on my machine, that's a 6.5 horsepower motor, and I can run the whole machine off of that. So let me get it fired up here. And when I screen with this, just for you guys, to show you the durability, I'm actually going to take that arm and I'm going to lift as high as I can lift, and I'm going to dump my dirt on my Grizzly bars. And again, you tell me if that other machine on the market that has no Grizzly, how long it would hold up. Okay, so there you go. Nothing is fake about my machine. Nothing's fake about my video here for YouTube. You know, sometimes I have a habit of flooding my machine, and if you slow down and you screen like you should, you will get clean drainage stone like this, which I have a project going on. Hopefully the next day or two I can use this stone over there. So another trick too, if you saw in the beginning, what you do is you take your dirt when it's wet, because everybody thinks you get 1 or 2 days of sunlight and your dirt's dry. Dirt's not dry. Top 2 inches are dry. My pile right there, if I really dig down in that pile, it's still wet, it's hard as a rock. So I actually pick my dirt up and drop it a couple times. It aerates it, it breaks it up, and I run it through the machine. And it, you know, this dirt, you know, I mean, it's still wet. You can pack it like a snowball. So if I could get another week of no rain, I could come out here and screen just as fast as I can load this machine. So I hope you enjoy my video, and I hope you realize my video is real. I would gladly put my machine up against anybody else's machine, and I hope you give me a call me with questions, and I hope you call to order one. Thank you.